unexplainable, the feeling that you really get from it. It's like a dream come true.
Road to the Final Four.
On the biggest stage, the Final Four sees a Cougar return.
The stars shine in the association.
Dave Carden. How do you leave the headman wide open?
The NFL is heating up.
It's got to be more than talent, because here's the news flash. They got a guy in their roster that's made that throw.
All that and more.
I'll figure it out! Because that might be the game. I'll figure it out!
This is SportsCenter All Night. Now, here's Jay Reynolds.
Anybody have a whistle somebody can borrow? That's straight ahead. SportsCenter All Night, ESPN Radio, the ESPN app, Sirius XM Channel 80. Baylor basketball hitting the headlines on numerous fronts. Both the men's and women's teams in Elite 8 action on Monday, and Baylor's women's coach, Kim Mulkey, calling for COVID testing to stop at both tournament sites. Why? Because it would be a shame if a player missed a chance to play in the Final Four because of a positive test. Let that sink in. Here's how Mulkey brought it up, unprompted, mind you.
I don't think my words will matter. After the games today and tomorrow, there's 4 teams left, I think, on the men's side and the women's side. They need to dump the COVID testing. Wouldn't it be a shame to keep COVID testing and then you got kids that end up having test positive or something and they don't get to play in the Final Four? So you need to just forget the COVID test and let the 4 teams that are playing in each Final Four go battle it out.
So there's that. As for Baylor, on the court, the men's team in the final of the South Regional Monday, the top-seeded Bears, third-seeded Arkansas.
Mitchell with the right wing, shot clock at 5, dribbles into the paint, finds Teague, left corner, 3 is up, and good again. Maceo Teague with a couple of triples. 72-61 Baylor. Butler's going to dribble back out front, nearly got it stripped, now turns, drives right, kick it out, Flagler, right wing, open look at a 3. Yes, sir! Adam Flagler hits his second 3 of the game. 55 seconds to go. 77-66 Baylor.
11-point lead at that point, and by the end,
1 second left. Here comes the horn. It is over. The Baylor Bears are going to the Final Four. Their first trip to the national semifinals since 1950. Baylor 81, Arkansas 72. The Baylor Bears on to the Final Four.
Westwood One NCAA Radio Network. The top-seeded Baylor Bears come out of the South, advancing to their third Final Four in program history. Baylor outscoring Arkansas 21-6 in points off turnovers. ESPN analyst Jay Billis.
My single biggest takeaway is Davion Mitchell of Baylor is the most indispensable player in this tournament. If you saw what he did in the second half to Villanova in the Sweet 16, where defensively just dominated the game, got steals, disrupted, and his speed, he's the motor of that team. And in the game we just saw against Arkansas, when he was in the game, he got foul trouble in the first half. When he was in the game, Baylor was absolutely dominant over the Razorbacks. Arkansas made its run when Mitchell was out and he was compromised for foul trouble. But when he's in the game, he can get to the rim, turn down a ball screen, and finish a play. And then defensively, his on-ball defense is the best in the country. There's nobody that can match him. And I think he's the one player. You take him off Baylor's team, and they're a totally different team. He's the most indispensable player in this tournament.
Davion Mitchell, 12 points, 6 assists, and a steal in the Baylor win. Maceo Teague, a game-high 22 points for the Baylor offense, 8 of 18 shooting, 5 rebounds, scored a combined 14 points in the 2 previous tournament games, had 22 in this one. Baylor advancing to the Final Four. First time since 1950. And, of course, they don't have to go anywhere. They stay in Indy. But in the Final Four, they will match up with the team out of the Midwest region. Houston, the 2 seed, led this one by as much as 17, but 12th-seeded Oregon State was not done. Backs it out to Thompson. 13 to shoot. Thompson enters it. Left block. Alatishe turning. Nowhere to go. Gives it up to Hunt. 3 is tested. Banks it home. The bank is open. And the bank ties the game. 55 all from 17 down to a bank 3 to even it up. Once the game was tied at 55, Houston rights itself. He'll back it out to Grimes. Grimes, 3 on the right wing. Oh, the answer for Grimes, a 3 from the right wing.
Houston back up by 3.
And by the end, the Cougars had hit enough free throws down the stretch to have a bit of a cushion.
It's scooped up in the corner. There will be no foul. And the Cougars claw their way to the Final Four for the first time since 1984. 67-61. Houston is back on the biggest stage. The Final Four sees a Cougar return.
Westwood One NCAA Radio Network, the Midwest champs for Houston. They go to the Final Four as the 2 seed. 6th Final Four appearance, as you heard, the first time since 1984, which was the end of the Phi Slamma Jamma era, when they finished as a runner-up again. Houston led by 17 points at the half. Game was tied, as you heard, at 55. Just inside 4 minutes to go, Houston closes the game on a 12-6 run over the final 3.5 minutes. Quentin Grimes, 18 points, scored 10 of their final 15.
Yeah, we got to stay poised. And just the tougher team's going to win. We got to just stay tough. We knew they was coming back. They was making a run, but we had to get stops and just be the tougher team. And I feel like that's what we did today.
You're going to the Final Four, dude. I mean, the Houston Cougars are going to the Final Four, and you're from there. You're taking your hometown school to the Final Four. On a personal note, what does that mean to you?
Yeah, it's surreal. Just knowing that in Houston they were ahead. I seen them building the program up, and then when I made the decision to come home, I just knew it was going to be a great fit. And just to see it all come full circle is it's just amazing. It's just something I dreamed of as a kid. Now to live it out as a reality, it's just crazy.
It's been crazy what this team's been able to do as a number 2 seed from the American Athletic Conference under your coach Kelvin Sampson. What does it mean that do you believe that you've gotten your respect by getting to the Final Four?
I definitely feel like I did, just knowing just everything I went through, just knowing everything the team has went through together, and just persevering through everything. People are counting us out the whole year, and we just stayed with it. We just did our thing, went out there, and now we're going to the Final Four, baby.
And your coach, I mean, you know, he's out of college basketball for so many years after Indiana. He goes to the NBA, and then Houston gives him a chance, and here you are. You know, he's leading you guys to the Final Four. What does it mean for you to have Kelvin Sampson, your coach, back on that stage?
Man, it's just something that we wanted to do not only for us, but for him, too. We knew getting back was going to be big for him, getting back to the second Final Four. And now we got some unfinished vision that he got to take care of, and hopefully we come out there and win the whole thing.
Houston's Quentin Grimes earlier with Freddie and Fitzsimmons here on ESPN Radio, where all guests appear on the Goodyear Hotline. Rise and Grind with Keyshawn, J. Will, and Zubin, weekdays 6 to 10 Eastern Time. ESPN college basketball analyst Dalen Cuff, just after 8 o'clock Eastern with KJZ. Sports Center all night, ESPN Radio. Elite 8 action on the men's side Monday. Elite 8 action on the women's side. And, wow. It's time for Straight Talk, brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. Baylor and Connecticut. It was a game that we could have had in January, but was scratched when Baylor coach Kim Mulkey tested positive for COVID. Monday, they did play in the Elite 8, and Mulkey would wind up being sick for another reason by the end of this one. The final of the Riverwalk region with a spot in the Final Four on the line. Baylor seemingly in control of this one, up by 10 with just over 2 minutes to go in the third. But then, had a look from 3, she passed up. Richards, oh no. Oh, Dee Richards grabbing at the back of her left leg. Quickly back up on it. We will see how Dee Richards is, but that is a critical injury for Baylor. Baylor losing Dee Richards, and with her out, UConn hits the accelerator. Deckers, the leader, rolls in! 25 for Deckers! Here's Deckers, another 3. You bet! Paige Deckers is feeling it! Harrington, and that's going to be another charge! A 17-0 UConn run over the last 5 minutes. Williams,
I think a timeout if I was Kim Mulkey.
UConn with a 19-0 run, moving out in front. Neither team playing particularly well down the stretch. And what was a physical game? The officials letting quite a bit of contact go in this one, which then brings us to the closing seconds of the game. Connecticut up 1. Baylor with the ball. 8 seconds left. Williams fouled after grabbing the ball for Connecticut after no foul was called on Carrington's drive, where she was met by two Huskies, and there could have been a foul called on either of them. No call, though, and UConn survives, moves on to the Final Four with the win, a 13th consecutive Final Four. As for that final play, Baylor coach Kim Mulkey.
What did you see when DeJohnay drove the ball from where you were standing?
What did you see?
I was surprised they didn't call a foul.
Then write it like that. You don't need a quote from me. I've got still shots and video from two angles. One kid hits her in the face and one kid hits her on the elbow.
As for the 10-point lead that turned into a 9-point deficit with UConn's 19-0 run,
The whole story of the game is Dee Dee Richards goes down and the whole momentum shifted, okay? So you think at that point your team could fold their tent. You got a freshman that you're putting in there that, hadn't been on this big stage. And, I'm sure she was nervous and we got to build her up and make her feel good. But I thought, all you can do is coach to the bitter end and give yourself an opportunity. And boys and girls, it'd have been fun to see DeJohnay to go to that foul line right there.
but there was no whistle, which incidentally seemed to be a common theme in this game. ESPN analyst Carolyn Peck.
Well, I think that there was a foul.
Okay.
And it happened even before DeJohnay went into her shot. But earlier in the game, Paige Beckers also got knocked to the floor. This was a physical game. But in watching this play, DeJohnay Carrington, Olivia Nelson-Ododa had her by the arm. And then when she goes into her shooting motion, Aaliyah Edwards is not vertical. She is not straight up. But that wasn't the first time fouls happened in that game.
Yeah.
It was a very physical ball game. And you could look at it and say that play or the previous one, when you also have opportunities at the free throw line, you have an opportunity when you only lose a game by 2.
All right, well, let's talk about the other significant moment in this game. That was that 19-0 run by UConn. They were down 10 to go up 9 first 3 minutes of the fourth quarter. What changed during that time that allowed the Huskies to even do that?
Well, you got to understand, to start the season, Baylor had moved Dee Dee Richards to the point guard spot because they really didn't have a true point guard. So when she went out with 2 minutes and 37 seconds left in that third quarter going down, there was no leadership. There was not a brainchild on the floor. And then turnovers started happening for Baylor. And when the turnovers happened, confidence started coming for the UConn Huskies. And that's when the shots started falling. That's when this young team now was like, the door's open.
Yeah.
I could go to the Final Four, and they took full advantage of it.
And the result is UConn heading to another Final Four, 13 straight, their 125th NCAA tournament win, one shy of matching Tennessee for the most by any team in women's tournament history. In the Final Four, Connecticut will get Arizona.
And not only have they been winning games, they are making history in the desert. For the first time in school history, the Arizona Wildcats are going to the Final Four.
Now it's out on ESPN as Arizona wins the Mercado region. 66-53 the final over Indiana. Arizona allowing fewer than 55 points again. When they do that, they're unbeaten. They're 13-0 when allowing 55 points or fewer in a game. Arizona advances to the Final Four where they will see UConn. Straight Talk Wireless, no contract, no compromise. They have an incumbent, but they're looking to bring in somebody else as well. That's next. SportsCenter All Night continues. It's ESPN Radio.